Hello guys, soulbound warriors. Unsheath your blades and step into the anime-fueled, heart-pounding epic of Anime Rangers X Souls. Roblox's Souls-like RPG where units either carve legends through boss battles or crumble like a poorly rolled gacha pull. Imagine Soul of Cyclops slicing through hordes with the fury of 1,000 anime openings, while crying Behelit's soul balls its way into a summoned catastrophe. I'm your shard-hoarding, alt-casting Ronin who's flubbed more combos than a newbie in Shadow Abyss, cackled at my own Soul of Challenges whiffs, and still hunts the mythic glow of Soul of Infinite Riches. We're forging a tier list to rank every unit from S-tier anime titans to D-tier flops, woven with tales of valor and pro tips to conquer PvE boss fights, PPV dojos, and nightmare raids with Anime Rangers X Souls Blazing Spirit. Sharpen your katana, summon your heroes, and let's write an anime saga for the ages. In Anime Rangers X Souls, units are your anime-crafted champions, wielding dazzling skills, ultimates, AoE, DPS, support, and roles, tank, mage, assassin, fueled by Shards, 10,000 to 50,000 from Story Act 1. S-tier legends like Soul of Cyclops and Domain of Love Soul reign with earth-shaking power, while D-tier crying Behelit Soul weeps in defeat. Farm shards from PvE missions, 100 to 300 per clear, or PvP wins, 5 to 10% bonus. Check Discord or Trello for new banners or events. Whether you're a fledgling samurai clearing story mode or a master Ronin crushing level 50 raids, this tier list is your enchanted blade. Let's carve through the D-tier duds and ascend to S-tier glory. Let's unsheath our blades at the bottom of the gacha shrine, where D-tier units falter like forgotten side characters in a shonen arc. These are for newbies with empty shard pouches, but enough spirit to laugh at their own summon tragedies. Time to dive into Dragon Fury Soul, the fiery warrior that roars but sparks out. This unit storms into PvE with draconic bravado, only to trip mid-ultimate and scorch its own tail. In a story mission, Dragon Fury Soul tried to blaze a boss but coughed embers, turning the fight into a smoky misstep. Its modest DPS scratches early foes, but weak scaling and steep shard costs doom it fast. Use it for level 5 to 10 grinds, slot as a ground DPS for a flicker of hope, and banish it before tougher waves strike. Next up, the Soul of Blood, the vampiric rogue that thirsts but doesn't quench. Picture it lunging with crimson flare only to slip on its own blood pool. In a PvP duel, it drained a foe but ran dry, making the arena a Soul of Blood blunder. Its lifesteal aids early survival, but pitiful DPS and no AoE make it a relic. Use it for level 10 clears, pair with a support for a faint boost, and yeet it quick. Now, let's face the Soul of Challenges, the daring unit that boasts but breaks. In a nightmare raid, it swaggered with bold combos but fumbled its sword, turning the battle into a challenges choke. Its minor stat buffs help starter fights, but high energy costs and no impact bury it in D tier. Use it for level 5 to 10 missions, place as a ground tank for a spark, and swap it out. Finally, meet Crying Behelit Soul, the weepy unit that summons tears but no terror. In a PvE wave, it wailed for power but sobbed itself out, making the fight a crying Behelit tragedy. Its niche debuffs barely slow enemies, and its shard cost is a cruel plot twist. Use it for level 5 clears, slot as a ground support for a dim glow, and re-roll before the credits roll. Let's stride into the mid-tier dojo, where C-tier units wield some anime flair but fade like a filler episode's cliffhanger. These are for grinders who smirk at their own ultimate whiffs. First up, the Soul of Sloth, the lethargic unit that dawdles more than it duels. In a story run, it lounged through waves but napped mid-fight, turning the defense into a sloth slumber party. Its slow debuff stall early PvE mobs, but low DPS and high shard costs dim its spark. Use it for level 15 to 20 clears, slot as a hill support for a slight edge, and banish it for better blades. Next, the Soul Catcher, the trap-setting shinobi that snares but doesn't slay. In a PvP arena, it laid traps but tangled itself, making the duel a Soul Catcher stumble. Its crowd control helps mid-game waves, but weak damage and niche use keep it C-tier. Use it for level 20 missions, place on hill for synergy, and swap it fast. Time to spin with the Soul of Steel Ball, the quirky unit that rolls but doesn't rock. In a nightmare raid, it hurled steel orbs but bounced off course, turning the fight into a steel ball slip. Its moderate AoE clears mid-game, but high energy costs dull its edge. Use it for level 15 to 20 grinds, slot as a ground DPS for a spark, and trade it out. Finally, the Soul of Chances, the gambler unit that bets but rarely wins. In a PvE wave, it rolled for crits but threw blanks, making the fight a chances choke. Its crit chance buffs aid early teams, but inconsistent output keeps it C tier. Use it for level 15 clears, place on hill for a boost, and reroll quick. Let's ignite the anime spark, where B tier units bring decent power but waver like a samurai in a storm. These are for shard farmers who chuckle at their own boss fight fumbles. Now, let's strike with the Soul of Thundering Fury, the electric warrior that shocks but doesn't stun. In a story run, it zapped foes with lightning but tripped on its own bolt, turning the fight into a Thundering Fury fizzle. Its AoE lightning clears mid-game mobs, but high shard costs and moderate DPS hold it back. Use it for level 20 to 30 clears, slot as a hill DPS for a boost, and trade for A tier. Next up, the Soul of the Riches, the greedy unit that hoards but doesn't hack. In a PvP duel, it stacked loot but forgot its blade, making the arena a riches ripoff. Its resource buffs aid mid-game farming, but low combat stats keep it B tier. Use it for level 25 grinds, place on ground for a spark, and reroll for better. Time to judge with the Soul of Prejudice, the debuff unit that curses but doesn't conquer. In a Nightmare raid, it weakened enemies but misfired its ult, turning the battle into a Prejudice puff. Its enemy debuffs help mid-game, but high energy costs dim its shine. Use it for level 20 to 30 missions, slot as a hill support for synergy, and swap it out. Let's grab with the Soul of Greed, the selfish unit that snatches but doesn't slash. In a PvE wave, it nabbed shards but tripped on gold, making the fight a greed goof. Its loot buffs aid mid-game, but no DPS keeps it B tier. Use it for level 25 clears, place on ground for a boost, and trade for stronger units. Finally, the Soul of Unemployment, the idle unit that slacks but doesn't strike. In a PvP arena, it slowed foes but loafed mid-fight, turning the duel into an unemployment oops. Its support slows help mid-game, but high shard costs hurt. Use it for level 20 to 30 grinds, slot as a hill support for a spark, and reroll fast. Let's draw our blades, where A-tier units shine as Anime Rangers X Souls' boss-slaying stars. These are near S tier but held back by minor stumbles, perfect for shard-rich Ronin ready to shine. First up, the Soul of Fire, the blazing mage that torches but doesn't burn eternal. In a PvP arena, it incinerated rivals but singed its own cloak, turning the duel into a fire flare-up. Its high AoE DPS melts mid to late bosses, but steep shard costs demand grinding. Slot as a ground DPS for level 30 to 40 clears, pair with a tank for max heat, and keep burning. Next, Soul of Pure Agony, the pain-dealing assassin that stings but doesn't soothe. In a Nightmare raid, it shredded a boss but winced mid-combo, making the fight a pure agony ache. Its DOT and high DPS dominate PvE, but low durability needs backup. Use it for level 35 missions, slot as a ground DPS for a boost, and keep the pain flowing. Time to tempt with the Devil Soul, the demonic trickster that hexes but doesn't rule. In a PvP duel, it cursed foes but tripped on its horns, turning the arena into a Devil Soul dangle. Its debuffs and DPS shine in late game, but high energy costs need strategy. Use it for level 40 clears, slot as a hill support for synergy, and curse the meta. Let's digitize with Soul of Virtual, the techie mage that hacks but doesn't crash. In a story run, it glitched enemies but lagged its ult, making the wave a virtual vortex. Its support buffs and AoE aid late game, but high shard costs limit early use. Use it for level 35 to 40 missions, slot as a hill support for a spark, and keep hacking. Finally, the Soul of Undying, the tanky warrior that endures but doesn't end fights. In a Nightmare raid, it soaked hits but forgot to strike, turning the battle into an undying oops. Its high durability and decent DPS help late game, but slow attacks need support. Use it for level 40 clears, slot as a ground tank for a boost, and stay standing. Now, let's unleash the Mythic Champions, where S-tier units reign as Anime Rangers X Souls' ultimate boss slayers. These are for Master Ronin who crave glory and leave foes in an anime-style dust. First up, Soul of Cyclops, the one-eyed titan that cleaves with mythic fury. In an infinite mode run, it slashed bosses with a colossal blade but nicked its own armor, turning the fight into a Cyclops epic. Its monstrous DPS and AoE crush any mode, but its mythic shard cost, 20,000, demands a saga of grinding. Slot as a ground DPS for all content, pair with a support for max impact, and carve your legend. Next, Domain of Love Soul, the enchanting bard that buffs with heart and breaks souls. In a PvP duel, it charmed allies but swooned mid-ult, making the arena a Love Soul serenade. Its support buffs and high DPS rule late game, but high energy costs need planning. Use it for level 45 clears, slot as a hill support for synergy, and spread victory. Finally, Soul of Infinite Riches, the gilded unit that funds epics but overspends. In a Nightmare raid, it showered shards but bought a dud summon, turning the battle into a riches rampage. Its shard generation and solid DPS break the meta, but high placement costs demand strategy. Use it for all modes, slot as a ground support for a boost, and fund your anime empire. The Abyss Falls Silent, Soul Slayers, and your Anime Rangers X Soul saga burns brighter than a Soul of Cyclops ultimate. From Infinite Riches Gilded Glory to crying Behelit's teary tumbles, you've forged the ultimate unit tier list to conquer PV, PvP, and Nightmare raids. S-tier titans like Domain of Love Soul reign supreme, while D-tier duds like Soul of Challenges keep your grind full of anime laughs. Whether you're a fledgling samurai clearing story mode or a Master Ronin slashing level 50 raids, this list is your mythic katana. Mix Cyclops with the Devil Soul for a DPS debuff dynasty, or Infinite Riches with Virtual for a shard support empire. Farm those shards, stalk Trello for updates, and etch your Anime Rangers X Souls legend. Drop your slickest boss kills or most tragic summon fails in the comments. Let's ignite the anime saga. Smash that like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more Roblox chaos. Slash now.